Welcome to mypresidenttrump.us, the video site where you can hear an unapologetic defense of our president, your president and mine, Donald Trump. Now, the Democrats are trying to make a very, very weak allegation into a rape allegation. The truth of the matter is, Mrs. Ford is not alleging rape. She's alleging that somebody tried to kiss her and fondle her back in 82, 83, 84. She's really not sure. She doesn't know where it happened. She didn't go to the cops. She Basically, she's very weak. Now, this is a form of bullying by the Democrats, in my opinion, and here's why. There are actual rape victims, real sexual assault. You ever notice how they call sexual assault almost anything? A kiss is sexual assault. Bumping into somebody could be sexual assault. Saying something that you politically disagree with is a form of sexual assault now. In my opinion, they broaden the term so much that it's meaningless for political and legal reasons. Basically, an attorney can sue for sexual assault for anything. Let's talk when you say sexual assault, what people actually think. They think rape, forcible penetration, either because you've been beaten into it or threatened into it. I'll tell you a story about a friend of mine. Her boyfriend, or the guy she was dating, went psycho. He tied her up with zip ties, inserted a large military style knife into her, and told her that if she didn't cooperate and do as she was told, that he would cut her from crotch to throat, and her 2-year-old daughter, who was in the next room, would be the one to find her. So obviously she cooperated. When he was done, he cut her loose and he left. She called me, told me what happened, called me bawling. I went over there immediately. I saw the zip ties on the bed, the knife with blood on it. Took her to the police. The police told me to take her, told her to go to the hospital. So we took her to the hospital. They did a rape kit, which, after what she'd just been through, wasn't very pleasant for her. She had to ask a million questions, or was asked a million questions. The rape kit, eventually it went to trial, and he got convicted. But that is somebody who has courage. She was actually sexually assaulted. She was tied up with zip ties and had a knife inserted into her, and was told that she was going to be cut from crotch to throat. That is sexual assault. She was also told that her 2-year-old daughter, who was in the next room, was going to be the one that was going to find her. I mean, but she did the right thing. She called me, and I took her to the police, and I took her to the hospital. They did a rape kit. They charged him. They knew who he was. He had to stand trial for it. That is courage. That is bravery. That is real sexual assault. What Miss Ford is alleging is somebody tried to kiss her, and she didn't do anything to document it at the time. It sounds to me like a political allegation. If she did a rape kit, she'd have evidence. If she documented it, wasn't in her diary, everybody she claimed that was there said they don't remember it. That is a false allegation. You can't go. Uh, it's a false allegation coming from a Democrat to a Republican, as the Republican's about to go on the Supreme Court. Now let's talk about obstruction of justice. Quick overview. Hillary Clinton deleted 33,000 emails 10 days after they were subpoenaed. That is the most obvious case of obstruction of justice in human history. She wasn't charged because she bribed the FBI. She gave $600,000 to Mrs. Orr, the wife of Mr. Orr, who was at the Justice Department and overseeing her email investigation. Funneling $600,000 to somebody's wife who's investigating you is obstruction of justice. Now let's talk about a second form of obstruction of justice. Dianne Feinstein had this woman come to her with this allegation. She didn't tell her to go to the FBI, who at the time was conducting an investigation into Mr. Kavanaugh. She got her a lawyer and had her shut up and wait till after the FBI investigation was over. After the hearings were over, she had Dianne Feinstein had meetings with Kavanaugh where she did not bring this allegation up. But after the FBI investigation was over, after the hearings were over, she brought this allegation forward, but politely denied it, said it was leaked somehow, she didn't know how. But that being said, she obstructed justice for 60 days. She did not tell Mrs. Ford to go to the FBI. She did not tell Mrs. Ford to go to the committee. She got Mrs. Ford a very left-wing extremist attorney and had that attorney sit on it until after the investigation phase of the hearings were over. That is obstruction of justice. If Kavanaugh is a judge, he knows this. Amy Klobuchar is a prosecutor from Minnesota. She knows this. If you had a trial, and so you investigated somebody, you brought them to trial, and the prosecution or the defense, in this case we'll call it the prosecution, had relevant evidence that they withheld during the investigation phase, during the trial phase, and then they threw it at the judge at the end, once the jury was about to go into the jury room to deliberate. We have evidence that we've been sitting on for 60 days. Why did you sit on it? Well, because if it went through the normal process, it would be inadmissible. Therefore, we're throwing it out here in public and we're throwing it at the jury in order to skew the jury and to bypass a normal level of discovery. That's exactly what happened in this case. Had Mrs. Ford gone to the FBI, the Democrats felt that her case, that she didn't have enough evidence. She had no physical evidence. She had no cooperating witnesses. She had no time. She had no date. She had no location. They may have asked Kavanaugh. They may not have. But there wasn't enough evidence in this case for the FBI to take it seriously. Therefore, in order for it to make a big a splash as possible, they had to withhold it from the FBI, withhold it from the hearing, and throw it in at the end in the media so we could have the circus, because it doesn't meet the standard of evidence that would normally be required to get this much publicity. So you had to start in the media, not with the FBI, because the FBI would have looked at it and said, there's no evidence here. We can't do anything with this. There's no evidence. But that's how it's obstruction of justice. Had it gone through the normal process, the FBI would have investigated and said there's no evidence here. They would have moved on. It would have been a non-issue. Only by making this false allegation or this baseless allegation public was it able to get this much attention. And once again, nobody's talking about evidence, and you're not seeing actual real rape victims come forward. Women who have been sexually assaulted, went to the police, went through the embarrassment of doing a rape kit after they've been violated, and standing up and prosecuting them. Those women are not the ones I see on TV. I don't see a woman saying that somebody broke in and put a knife through their throat and forcibly penetrated her. I don't see women saying that they were raped at gunpoint coming up and identifying with Mrs. Ford. Those women tend to go to the police. They do rape kits. They finger their attacker. Their attacker has to stand trial. There are a lot of people in jail for rape because women and men who get raped stand up every day. They go do the rape kit. They call 911. They go to the hospital. They collect DNA evidence. They say that's the person who did it, and that person has to stand trial. And if it's a plausible allegation, that person goes to prison. This is not a plausible allegation. This is a politically motivated allegation with no evidence. And I don't see actual physical rape victims stepping forward to say they support Ford. I support her. No. People who were actually physically assaulted and forcibly penetrated and called the police, did a rape kit, stood up in court, said they did it. Here's the DNA evidence. I don't see those people out there because they see this as a politically motivated attack. And the Democrats have bullied blacks into being Democrats because Republicans are racist. The Democrats are bullying women into being Democrats, not because the Democrats do what's right for women, but because the Republicans are sexist. This is another example. Republicans are all going to be rapists. The Democrats get get black votes not because they provide safe streets, good schools, and a great family life for African Americans. They do it because they bully them. Republicans are racist. Therefore, you have to live in unsafe neighborhoods. You have to live in Democratic ghettos. You being shot at, women being sexually harassed just for walking down the street, bad schools, bad communities, bad water. Take Flint, Michigan. That's a Democratic town, and they blame Republicans for what they did, what the Democrats did to the water. Everything that happens to African Americans and to women, they're all bullied into believing that it's the Republicans hate them. No, we have a two-party system, and the Democrats have been allowed to bully and brand their opponents as racist, bigot, homophobe, now rapists, sexual assaulters. All that means is they never have to provide safe communities, good services. They never have to be accountable to blacks, to women, to gays, because, well, they branded your other option as a racist, bigot, homophobe. It's pure bullying. You're listening to mypresidenttrump.us. Hit that like button. Tell everyone about me. You're mad at me? Tell me off. Tell your friends about me. Share me on Twitter. Share me on every social media site you know of. Remember, you don't have to love me, but I am the best thing going to today. I will defend President Trump at every turn. You want an argument? Come see Tim at mypresidenttrump.us.